As I'm designing this sea creature, the first thing that I want to think about is just trying to find a flow in the design. And that's why I started with this sort of S curve shape. And now I'm just starting to block in my ideas. Notice even with the arms, I'm not making them symmetrical. I think that's very important. I'm really thinking about clarity within the whole design. Even though it's rough, I'm just trying to move things out of its own way so it's not going to compete with it. But I suggest that you give yourself the opportunity to work extremely loose like this. Just try to figure it out. As I'm drawing this sea creature, my idea is that it's going to be in the sea, and there's elements that I want to add, like that of certain fish or coral or seashells or whatever it else may be. And now what I'm doing, I'm not even reducing the opacity. I'm just drawing on another layer, just a little bit darker. Again, I'm still thinking in a rough phase. I'm not ready to commit yet. I find oftentimes people just try to commit way too quickly, as opposed to just allow yourself just to get sloppy with it, get messy with it. As I'm doing the tail, I was even thinking about, like coral and how it all gathers and comes together. Look at the arc I'm drawing for the back. Like, that's the hair. That's trying to find the rhythm. That's trying to find the flow. And then I can break up those shapes afterwards. And again, just making sure that right now I'm not worried about tangents or anything like that, because when I clean up the design, then I start really paying attention to that. But more importantly, this just gives me a sense of, can I see the design there? Now I've gotten rid of the bottom layer. Now's my time just to come in and start fixing things just a little bit more. I don't have his eye on the other side. I'm going to have to just add a little bit of that through there. I'm just starting to what's called just beefing up certain things, where I'm just getting things to be just a little bit darker and just to read just a little bit more within the design. Even there, I just felt like I could get a greater arc in the design, and that's why I pulled that out. Again, varying your shapes is going to be very important, and even framing that hand. That was intentional, to frame the hand inside the body. That way it just reads. I want you to even squint your eyes when you look at this, because you're going to start to see that it still reads, and that's the most important thing whenever you're doing any type of design. Does it read? And I would encourage you to even shrink it down and make it smaller as you're working on it, just to see if it still has clarity, and not making sure that everything's not getting just so bunched up within the design, because these are the sort of things that are going to really confuse designs, and this is what we're just really trying to avoid. And I'm playing around with like a big mouth against smaller eyes, but I'm even making those little light things from the fish that are in the front, dangling in front of him, making those smaller so that they're not competing with the eyes. And what it comes down to is trying to discover that balance. So make sure you look at one of the videos on balance through here, because it'll help you understand what I'm thinking about too. And now I'm just blocking in what I imagine these would be, from the coral to the seaweed that's wrapping around, and maybe there's some sort of plant life. Or when I'm thinking about the teeth, well, maybe those might be seashells or something like that within the design. Maybe with his hands, they're going to be more plant, like just of the reef, like the plant reefs. And that's why I did just like a little bit of a side note there. And this is just a rough thing that I would show the director before I even go to the next phase, because I don't want to spend so much time developing something for a director just not to be happy and say, no, that's the complete wrong direction. And that's the typical process that I'll go through. So have fun, experiment, keep your drawings clean, clear, and don't worry about getting so sloppy.